The new format ended the first round with 18 pairs of extremely dramatic and attractive matches. In addition to eroding the power of the midweek period, the intensity of the new Champions League, it makes people care. Then when the results showed that 15 clubs have won all 3 points. That means 7 teams, despite winning but still temporarily in the Payad group, instead of winning round 8. Just one look at the current chart. It's almost as if the big European guys realize the score must be accompanied by a difference. Help them move to the safe zone. For example, in previous seasons, La Liga is always proud of the large participating component. Be sure to keep going when the round is closed. Then now, there are no representatives from Spain. They are in the top 8 teams. Real Madrid won against Stuttgart. So what's the reason? It's making things difficult with the current champion. Now let's get to the overview. After the first leg of the Champions League, aim for round 1-8. According to the initial announcement, the 8 highest-ranked teams will advance to the first round of 8. To achieve this goal, a club must win at least 17 points after 8 matches. Group stage, due to no more confrontational record. So goal difference is becoming a subcategory. But it's quite important. The teams need to pay attention. The most important thing to mention is Bayern Munich. Coach Vinto Kompany understand the rules of the game, and he's asking his students to go on a rampage. Dinamo Zagreb to get the bold ripe victory. 2 right at Allianz Arena. With 3 points and a positive difference of 7, Bayern has topped the overall ranking. Turn Celtic Leverkusen, Aston Villa Domen and Sparta Braha are right behind. Temporarily because these clubs have also won victories. With the difference, it's a bit unfair, but it's okay. Because obviously some teams are weak as slogans. They promised to lose a long time. They lost more in the following rounds because the big guys understood that the way to stay in the top 8 is to win big. 3 points is not a competitive factor. In the case of Liverpool and Juventus, it's early days. 7 and 8 have the same result and win the match. But both of these clubs understand that they're just temporarily standing in that position. If you don't keep winning to create distance, we'll be cut off in the next group. Catch up. Group play. Before the Champions League takes place, FIFA has said that a team only needs 8 points to qualify for the playoff round. More likely, the clubs need 10 points. That's because there are 7 teams. He won in the first round, temporarily placed in Group 2. Because they lost because the goal difference was only. Real Madrid are in the top spot. Considered an exception, the Kings still won Steve Gate BA. Like Liverpool and Juventus. But I'm behind these 2 clubs, by the alphabet element. And that means that Real Madrid could rise to the top 8. And everything is temporary right now. They have the same 3 points as Real Madrid, but in the Napoleon included. The 2 strongest representatives
I'm going
of
to
football.
be with
the Inter. Atalanta and Shakhtar Donetsk. It's in the middle of the chart. While Sturm Barcelona and Racing Boss V, the league shot itself in the foot to have a minimum loss in turn ranked 22-24. Remember that there are 16 teams. The playoff will have a different number of games compared to the top 8 teams, even if it goes on. But actually, 16 teams must randomly pair with each other. To find the 8 teams that go into the first round, no club wants to. We have to fight another death. To lose advantage and lose fitness. So in front of you, the big guy is in 2 groups. Get up quickly in the next round. When that happens, there's 2 scenarios for them. Of course, winning will help Arsenal, Man City, Barcelona, or Inter rise in the rankings. The opposite is different. They're quite likely to fall into the red alert category if you continue to get bad results. Group eliminated. Different from 2 over groups. 12. The club is in this group. They will be eliminated when the group stage is closed. It's not like they're in the Europa League every year. But what really surprises people, when the clubs that were temporarily in the group were eliminated, it's teams with names, which is Riorona Peas 6 Eindhoven Stuttgart Lyn, Ragbool Sound Sport Foligno, and especially AC Milan. Once in the last group, that means the clubs don't have a score. Comes with a pretty big negative difference, so every effort needs to be doubled to improve the situation. However, with the then Benkrat Youngboy slogan Protislava or Dynamozagate is different. There's almost no room for horses, because weak teams firmly in the hands of fate store points. simply because they didn't just meet one big guy, but at least it took 4 years for the big guy to fight. It's almost unexpected. Or even if it's just a couple of rounds. From there you can see the division of 3 groups into round 1-8, player and eliminated. It's making the teams extremely nervous. No one anticipated the prospect to win, but they didn't qualify for the top 8 teams. And when that happens, a lot of big guys will be more focused in the next round to avoid the prospect of a long night. The interesting thing about this model is that every time the game is over, 36 clubs will have a 14 to 20 day break. Let the players recover, and divided Raw's fitness to compete in domestic tournaments, as well as wearing a team jacket. The second leg of the Champions League will have to wait. It will continue until early October, and don't forget, no matter what match, we'll also see the VA tense touch between the big-name clubs. Most prominent, Arsenal's first trip to PEG. Once the outcome is in favor of a team, which means the Gunner or PES directly fell, the group is eliminated immediately. Turn 2. It is also a chance for Barcelona to win again. You only have to welcome young boys. Inter Milan and Man City, after holding each other, they are now able to win 3 points against the Red Stars. AC Milan will not be as lucky as Inter, because the opponent they're going to face is Liverpool. The team just sank Feyenoord with a score of 4-0. Then one day, Bayern will march to you as a guest of Aston Villa. Disadvantages on guest can completely make the grey humgoat meet. The results are not as expected. What is being directed by Unai Emery's teachers and the same thing happened with Atletico Madrid, when they had to march across the Iberian Peninsula, clash with Benfica. It's hard to tell which side the results will be, because of what happens on the field with the ability to reflect between the two big guys. Separate countries. In other fights, the second time we saw a couple of matches, I thought it was easy, but not bad. Dog Moon meets Celtic. Liverpool versus Portugal. League against Juventus, and for the first time in history, Lille will host the Champions League king, Real Madrid in Pamaroi. Remember the Tay Voice Cup war? It's not just winning in this format, but also goal difference. Once there is a lead, the teams are not allowed to stop attacking, but if there's too much space, the enemy will find a way to get close. Separate from that, the attraction in each pair of matches, so it's pushed up to the high RA. It is not clear what the clubs are, because the Champions League is just one round away. Long distance to know the horse. The big guys are strong enough and experienced to overcome this difficult period and then move on. The previous 7 defeats were forgotten to try to beat the next opponent. With Kim only male BA absolute and there's only 8 leading clubs, there are many advantages to advancing to the 8th round. The game of this Champions League promises to be extremely stressful, to suffocate every time it happens.